I don't remember.
Good evening, all.
Hi, Councilmember Agabi, how are you? Hi, Peter.
Hello. I don't know. It's December.
So you cross, you close that out, right? It's real big. You got it. Yeah. You have 1 more minute. Yep. Yep, you have a work on this goal, so I think it's easy. Don't do that. We're not having meetings until 3. And then we were gonna. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Pretty good, hi. Went to a concert last night.
Oh, where'd you go see? Did you go to
John Legend.
It's 5:30.
It's 5:30. Are we ready? All right. Like to call December 9th, 2024, Animal Service Commission meeting to order. And I am Lisa Parsley, chair. Nerd. I've been on this committee since I got on city council, so it's one of my meetings that I'm like, oh, it's so sad. So I'm gonna just go around the table to my left.
Joe McGugan behind Friends.
Vicki Smith, the Shoes Animal Clinic.
Malcolm Miller, City of Lacey.
Vicki Solemn, Thurston County Humane Society.
Karen Kelly Fong, City of Lacey. Sarah Hawk, Joint Animal Services, Executive Director of Joint Animal Services. It's fine.
Peter, want to introduce yourself?
Peter Agabi, City of Dumbwater.
Excellent. I'd like to seek approval of the agenda and consent agenda items, which include approving of the agenda, the approval of the November 18th meeting minutes, and November 2024 shelter statistics.
I would move that we approve, approve the agenda and the consent agenda items,
Do we have a second?
which includes the meetings from.
Second.
Any other conversations, amendments, changes on this consent agenda? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All righty. We're moving right along. We are moving to public comment, and as of the start of this meeting, we
Chair,
did
just
not.
to confirm the big period.
Yes, oops, sorry. Yes.
I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
Are we gonna have any representation from the county here tonight?
Oh,
I was not told that they were not.
oh, wait, there's 3 participants. Emily,
I'm here. I will be reappointed back to this commission this week, so I'm not officially able to vote, but I'm here and I'm about to pull into the parking lot, so I'll be there in just a second.
You go.
thank you. And thank you, Malcolm. I appreciate that. I'd get too ahead of myself on this.
So, clarification then, that means that right now Thurston County does not have a member present from.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Commissioner Fournier is not present.
But we have 3 voting members for the budget. We have Lacey, Olympia, and Tom Water.
Yeah, we still have
I
more.
understand.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, though. So yes, the consent agenda, I get it fast. All righty. Business item number 5A. That's you, say, happy speaker.
Yes. Sorry, Chair, I just want to make sure we called for public comment as well.
Oh, I promise you, I've been in meetings all day.
Sorry, because she called public comment already. I didn't think about it, but it was while we were.
Right, let's, in an abundance of caution, let's check on the
Starting
Yeah, because that's at the beginning of this meeting, we had
Happy
none.
Monday, everyone.
But I would hate to have someone waiting online or in the room waiting to do public comment.
We have 0 people in the room to give public comment, and we have not had anybody sign up to give comment via Zoom or submit written.
Excellent. Okay, now we can go to 5. There we go. Thank goodness Shannon's there for us. Assistant City Manager. Alrighty. Now, 5A.
5A. The staff of Joint Animal Services is recommending that the Joint Animal Services Commission motion to approve the 2025 Joint Animal Services budget as presented in the October as well as November meetings for a total of $3,604,949.
Okay. Is there any discussion before we move to a motion? Peter, do you have any comments on the budget?
I think we've pretty much flogged that budget to death, so we should just go ahead and do what we gotta do.
Okay. This is the one time that only the jurisdictions get to vote because it's the fiducial part of this. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the 2025 Joint Animal Service budget.
I would so moved.
Second,
If I hear no more discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Well, wait. Are we gonna have discussion?
Do you want discussion?
Well, we might as well.
Yeah, that's
If
fine.
there is anybody
That's
who
fine.
has something to say about the budget.
Longer it's yours.
The floor is absolutely.
I reviewed the budget and,
so now, wait a second. I mean, if we raise the motion and then I second, are we not going back to comment?
yeah,
We can definitely have discussion at this point.
Okay, all right.
seconded, and now we're gonna talk about it a little bit. I didn't really see a whole. I was, the reserves. Those got removed from the assessments, and I what I did like is that I saw the assessments for the 2 previous years, right? And I got to see, how it went from 93 to 105 to what it's at now. And I thought that was something that I was glad to see clearly illustrated that, here's the graduation, here's where we remove dollars for this section. And then also there was a couple other sections where we didn't remove dollars. And I think one of them was operations and one of them was either surgeries or salaries, something that started with an S. Okay. And I was happy to see that too, because, and that brings me to my question. Are we going to wean those pieces off of reserves as well in the future, or how's that?
Yeah, so the medical reserves that we're currently using to pay for veterinary staff, as discussed in the budget presentation, we will year over year for the next 5 years be slowly reducing our dependence on those medical reserves to pay for staff.
Okay.
That still won't mean that we won't use our medical reserves to pay for other medical items, procedures, costs of computer, things like that. But as far as the staffing levels, yes, we will year over year reduce our reliance off of those medical reserves to pay for medical staff.
I think it's also important to call the distinction that there are the medical reserves that are currently paying for staff, and then there's also just medical costs associated with the services that are being provided there. So there are line items, and depending, Mayor, on which line item specifically you're looking at, it could also be for other medical costs as well as for salaries.
Gotcha. Okay.
Correct.
And then I noticed there was only $25,000 worth of, was it overtime or like additional time?
For overtime for field staff, yeah.
Overtime for field staff, and then there was no overtime for shelter
There was a
Was there a small
small,
amount? Okay,
but not as much.
okay. It was a pretty tight ship, the way I saw it. And I was looking at it and I was like, man, that's not a lot of excess dollars going out in hourlies or salaries or,
Correct.
and so I liked seeing that. It looked like very little waste in that department. What else did I see? General reserves, veterinary services reserves, 250 plus the 135 that come out to 385. We discussed that. I think that was all my comments. Assessments for 2024, Thurston County 130, 249. And then for 2025, it was 108. Was it?
Are we talking about like the field services?
I think we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Field rebates.
Those
Okay.
are those are the field rebates that we used. Again, that was reserves that we used to do staffing rebates.
Mhm.
When we weren't fully staffed in field.
Okay, so Lacey's portion shoulda, coulda, woulda been 53,762.
Yeah.
Right? And then so for 2025, Lacey's portion is
0. Because there is no field rebate this year.
And that's because, we're staffed with
Staff.
field service officers.
Yep, there's no need,
Correct.
right, because you don't have to refund any dollars. I think that was all my questions.
Those are good questions.
Thanks.
And I was really quickly reacquainting myself with the overtime. It looks like 2024, we did an excellent job, or it was because we are not fully staffed. I kept it at around 15,000. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we did a fairly good job of just keeping it down. We were fully staffed, and so that is part of what reduces overtime, but also, it's managing the staff time well. And some of that is making sure that we're staying at capacity when it comes to animals in the shelter. So, you would see most likely an increase in overtime happens when we have field cases. That it's all hands on deck, and sometimes we have to stay later to make sure all the animals are processed. If we are at over capacity for any reason, so for example, summertime is usually when we do incur for shelter staff overtime to make sure that duties are completed. Most of the field officer stuff is going to be their overtime is like holiday on-call after hours standby, and a variety of things like that, which is why they're more. They will have a tendency to go over their normal work week with us being on call as well.
Anything else? No.
Mhm.
I know, I like it.
So-
I think it's great.
Sarah,
Yes.
I know I did ask this question before, and I'm going to ask it again just to assure myself that that is indeed what we have done or are doing. Did we discuss our budget with the partners? So, for example, Tomwater, Lacey, and Olympia. Did we discuss that with them?
So I do present estimates in about September-ish to the jurisdictional staff. And then part of it, depending on timing, I believe, like for Tumwater, I think I also talked about your guys' assessment at my presentation to City Council. And so we are talking with staff about those assessments ahead of time before we present you the initial budget in October.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion?
I have a question, somewhat related to budget, but not the proposed budget. at our last meeting, we talked about the potential regional capital request for 2 million to help with the facility design. And I was just wondering, like, what can the county do to support that request? I've talked a little bit to the board about maybe a letter of support for the state. I just wonder if there's something specific that you all think jurisdictions could do to kind of support getting external funds to help with the building, because I know it's going to be a huge cost and there's some question marks, and I just want to do whatever I can on my part. We found out that I'll be representing JASCOM again next year, so I'm excited for that and looking forward to that. But as far as the facility, I haven't had a chance to dig into the proposed budget, but what's the plan for the facility? Do we have a little bit of do we have some of those gaps filled, some of those questions answered?
I was gonna ask that same question. Can we push that out until after we get this vote?
Totally, yeah,
I want to talk about that too.
okay.
I think, yeah. Okay,
Now we just need a vote.
yeah, got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Aye.
Get the vote.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing, no opposition, the budget passes for 2025.
Yay.
Yes, well done.
got it
Well
done.
done. Okay, now let's talk about obviously there's multiple members, including myself, who talked about it in my finance committee for the city today.
Is it okay if we
Yeah,
insert it as an
capital.
agenda item
Yeah.
right now?
Because it's budget.
Okay.
I can jump in and provide a little bit of perspective and background for what could be some possible next steps. And then Sarah, if you want to talk a little bit about the assessment and where we are with that process. But this is something that we've identified, speaking as the city of Lacey, for our legislative agenda as one of our priorities here moving forward, which was adopted by our city council last meeting. We've also been working with regional representatives through the Thurston County shared legislative agenda to get this on the priorities for our partners here at Thurston County, and that includes Thurston County itself, Tumwater, Olympia, as well as other partners outside of the jurisdictions. So that's another just great way that we're trying to keep moving the momentum forward. They are going to be finalizing that draft regional shared legislative agenda here this week, actually, and then presenting it to state legislators a little bit later in December. And so we certainly welcome letters of support for that particular item to make sure it gets in front of our legislators.
So we did have this conversation at our last city council meeting. And one of the things that we said was, first of all, this is a big priority for us, like top 3, right? And then in addition to that, we wanted to check with the other partners, jurisdictional partners, to make sure that it's also in their top list of priorities. So obviously, since that time, Shannon has been working the back channels and to see how and making that happen. My plan was there's a 3 cities meeting coming up, and I wanted to get just a direct answer from each of the partners, like, is this important enough for you guys to put it in your legislative ask on your shared agenda? On your agenda for the legislation stuff. So, staff may come back with, hey, we talked to everybody and everybody's saying that this is going to happen, but I still want to make sure that I talked to Debbie, that I talked to probably Leonard if he's at the meeting. I think he does a pretty good job of showing up, and Olympia, Jay, and make sure that everybody is, going in the same direction, saying, yes, we'll back the plan to, get this extra $2 million that's needed for this facility. So as a city, that was one of those things where, we had, I don't remember, I know it was at least 9 legislative items on that list. And at the time the list came out, we bumped JASCOM right into the top 3, because like you guys are saying, that facility's not going to last. We got to do something.
I'm looking at Olympia City's legislative agenda, which we will be voting on tomorrow night. And it's not in there, but it's not too late for me to amend it, even though it's on consent. I can ask for that to be pulled. But I'm worried if you wait for the joint city meetings, the council will have already passed our legislative agenda.
Yeah, so whatever we can do to,
I can bring it up to Dante. I'll ping him and say, hey, can we pull the agenda? I know this is gonna make all the city council members roll their eyes because this is a hotly contested thing, but I'll see if we could just add it as one of our capital, because I know we're going for the armory as well.
right?
But the armory is separate. It's different, I think.
Yeah. You guys, the Armory's been having some good events.
Yeah.
And it just needs some dollars behind it to make it more.
And I think there are two different kinds of asks. You know, I'll ask Jay and Dante how they want me to take this on, because there's room back here.
Yeah, because we wanted to make sure that, you know, everybody in the ILA is singing the same song. That's basically our goal, at least.
Has Tumwater approved their legislative agenda?
That I don't know. So I'm having difficulty with the audio from the room. There's a breakage in between sentences. So let me do a recap. I had something about legislative agenda, but I'm not able to decipher what exactly that is.
Don't have chat enabled on our meetings, and not to create any public records.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Speak her closer.
It's
The legislative staff, Councilmember Agapi was, last meeting, Shannon, was talking about the city of Lacey. One of their legislative agenda items would be to ask the state in the legislative season for $2 million to go towards the design of the.
Okay.
If you want to continue. I can.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh,
Guys, we can sip of water here.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I think this is just something that we recognize, you know, when we're talking about the future facility, we're all going to have to strategize on how we're going to fund it. And so taking kind of a unified step forward, seeing what kind of sources we can find out there is a good direction to go into. And so it'd be really good to check a legislative agenda and have a conversation and discussion. We're obviously going to be keeping it on the city of Lacey as a priority. And we'll be working again through the shared regional legislative agenda to make sure that it again gets in front of our legislators here in 2025. We appreciate any additional activity that we've done.
You might know one of them. No, I'm gonna bring it up to Olympia tomorrow. I'll deal with that. I'll write an email when we're done with this meeting to the mayor and city manager, see if I can't get it added to our consent. Do you know when county has they, because I know we're meeting with them, I think it's this week for breakfast.
Okay. I was just looking through my email. There's a couple different legislative agendas we get, like from LOT, we get from WASAC, and we get like state legislative updates. And this is coming up on the end of my first year. And I know earlier this year when we were doing it for session, 2024 session, we would get like updates every week from Rob, the assistant county manager. And we could kind of like add things as we go. So like taking action, like writing letters and other ways that we could support, like going and speaking. We could kind of do it like as we go along. So, and that's what I remember from this year's process. It wasn't like we approved this agenda and then that's it. It was like, oh, I heard of this bill, related to animal services. Could we throw this in there and get updates on it every week? And we could kind of add it that way. And I don't see anything in my email about like a finalized agenda. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of how we do it. Unless someone might know differently, because I've only gone through this once and it was a short session. So, but I'm not finding anything right now in my email that says we've finalized our priorities for next year. I have been bringing this up every time we have an update on legislative agendas for next year. So they know that it's on my priority list, but we haven't like put one together for the county. So we're not quite there yet.
Okay, well, we can talk about it at the breakfast.
Okay, perfect. Which day is that?
I'd have to go look at my calendar.
Okay, I know it's on my, I think it's Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Um. I'm glad you brought this up. The timing was perfect because
Yeah.
otherwise we would have been settled. And I can tell you for a fact, the capital budget for the state of Washington is probably the only place that's gonna give money out.
Yeah.
I've learned that much.
Just to update you guys too a little bit on the space needs assessment itself. Animal Arts will most likely be presenting hopefully in our first meeting in 2025, which is in February. And you will have an updated estimated budget at that time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Alrighty. So. Any more on the budget? This was good conversation. All right, hearing none, we're gonna move on to business item 5B, which is meeting schedule, and I am. You wanna start off with that?
Sure, so this is more of just more informational at this point. We will firm these dates up in February at our first meeting. Currently, I still have everything being held on the second Monday of the month. We are not meeting every month next year because I am finding we seem to cancel the same months with attendance, and we also don't always have necessarily a full agenda docket for those meetings. And so I am hoping, and what I'm proposing is that we really look at having JASCOM meetings every other month, starting in February, within the last 3 months, October, November, December, since that's budget, we would still have those three. So we would still have October, November, December, with our budget presentation being in October, the budget hearing being in November, and the budget vote in December. But really otherwise alternating the monthly meetings to give everybody some time back and to make sure that when we are meeting, it is it's a packed agenda with action items as needed.
Comments? Wow, I'll miss you guys every other month. This is like my favorite meeting.
And
I've been here
again,
7
this is-
years, so yes.
Nothing's set in stone, so once we have official appointments from all the jurisdictions as well. Again, this is instead of set in stone, we can discuss this further and affirm everything in February to make sure that these dates work for everybody.
Yeah, when I first reviewed this, I was like, man, this looks light. And then I said to myself, 7 out of 12 ain't bad. What I didn't notice is that it was the odd numbered months going through up and until July.
Yeah. And we normally, there's appointments usually haven't been made in January. And so we have traditionally held off until February. So that's where we kind of started.
Give all the councils a chance to.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?
Olympia pushed the retreat where appointments occur until the last weekend of January. So this works perfectly.
Great.
But I'm pushing for Jim Cooper because I think he's got a good brain too as you go forward for funding of the project. It's not a bad thing. Any other conversation? Peter, are you getting most of this?
Yes, yes, a little better.
Okay. And the current non-jurisdictional, are you all? Is your appointment go through next year?
They're continued until otherwise.
Hope you guys hold on. This is this is fun.
I'm sticking around.
Me too.
Good. You? Yes?
She's brand new, so yeah,
You got it. I think that's a 10-year commitment.
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
Hey, she was close.
that was close, 7 years. I did 7. So. Yeah, this is a fun. And I will just say, because I have to, unscripted, the advent of bringing Sarah in on has made it what it is now. And I'll keep saying that, but it's true. So we're moving on to the director's report.
I am keeping it short for you guys today. But it's all fun stuff.
Yay.
So Becca, she was one, there was 100 applicants for the management leadership certificate that is co-run by Best Friends Animal Society and Southern Utah University. And so she is one of 30, I believe, that have been selected for this certificate, runs January through June. And this one's specifically designed for emerging leaders. So it's for coordinators, supervisors, managers in animal services. I was in the original iteration. I was the beta testing group cohort 1 for the executive leadership certificate 5 years ago. And so it's really grown and developed from there. And so we were very excited that she wanted to apply, but 2, that she was accepted into the program for the next 6 months. And what's really great about the certificate program is those that are in that cohort, it is a certificate, but then they can also choose to continue and use those credits that they earned through the certificate to be applied to their bachelor's or master's degree with Southern Utah University.
That is too cool.
So very exciting. Southern Utah University also has a animal services, I forget the official name for it, but they actually have a degree in animal services that was created with Southern Utah University. So very cool as far as the continued professionalization of the animal welfare industry when it comes to putting animal shelters. And we get to see Becca's picture twice. Oh, wait. Oh, I put it, never mind, I'm looking out of order. So we are doing fee waived event all week this week. That was thanks to the Best Friends grant that I spoke about last month, 2 months ago, where we received $25,000 to do fee waived events for the next year. So this will be our first one, wagging through the snow. Thanks, ChatGPT. We're jingling all the way to a new home. So we're hoping, we seem to have some really good success in our adoption events in December. A lot of people like the idea of bringing home a friend for the holidays. So that's happening all week long. And then there's Becca again, same photo. The ASPCA recognized us on all their social media platforms. Very exciting. It was actually a grant from the ASPCA's Northern Tier Shelter Initiative that for $40,000 that actually allowed us to buy all the surgical equipment for the surgery suite. And so when I shared with them that we had hit our 1,000 surgery mark back in June, they reached out a couple of weeks ago to ask if we could partner on social media posts together celebrating our 1,000 surgeries. So very exciting. And we are going to hit, this wasn't a part of my director's report, but we are going to be very close to 1,200 to 1,300 surgeries this year alone.
That's awesome.
So we're very excited. Dr. Swearingen and her team of 1 currently, team of 2 next year. It'll be amazing to see what an entire team of 3 instead of her and a veterinary assistant can do. So we're looking forward to that. We also had a wine tasting event with Oli Wines just this last Saturday. And so you could snuggle kittens and adopt while you tasted glasses of wine. We're also doing another adoption event with Yelm Farm and Pet. We have been going out to that area regularly to do adoption events, and it's been a really fun event this year. Also, our most popular event is back, Santa Paws. You can reserve your spot for either Saturday or Sunday. Sundays have longer time slots that you can do, and with the idea that if you have a dog that is perhaps more reactive, to the environment or to other dogs, we have longer time slots to give your dog on Sunday time to maybe decompress a little bit before they have to get their picture taken with Santa. Our Santa for the second year in a row is actually a former employee and still a current volunteer. His name's Noah. He made that Santa suit.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And so he will be Santa once again. It also works out really great because he's really good with dog behavior. He has a treat bag. He's really great at getting on the floor with them. And so it makes for really fun photos. And we have another volunteer who every year her job is to transform our conference room into the photo room. It's really gorgeous. She has a new design every year. It always amazes me that like what she creates out of the conference room, and we're all terrified to walk in there until like it's done. Because we don't want to mess up anything, but it always astounds me how beautiful the photos turn out. Volunteer photographer, and so people will make a $30 donation. And then they get digital photos emailed for them for use, for print, you name it. So it's our most popular quote unquote fundraiser / event that we have all year.
You sell out?
Every year our spots are booked out. And then Happy Tales. So you guys actually heard about Nana's case when Sierra did her field update. So Nana was a part of the 40 large livestock guardian dogs that were Pyrenees mixes. That was a case that we partnered on with TCSO because there was also livestock involved. And so Nana was one of those 40 dogs that we worked with the owner both to surrender to us, including puppies, as well as working with him to spay and neuter his remaining dogs so that he would not get overwhelmed again. And so Nana was actually adopted by one of our surgery day volunteers. So she was like fairly new, just came on, met Nana during her spay surgery. They fell in love. And now Nana is living her best life with one of our volunteers.
And Chihuahuas.
Yep, and Chihuahuas.
I love our Happy Meals.
Okay, and that's it for me on the director's report today.
Well, that's good. That's wow, productive. So, anything for the good of the order? He perks right up.
I'm sad I didn't think of this because I would have brought cupcakes and beverages, or at least requested them, but this is your last.
Yep.
Your last night with us.
It is very sad.
Yeah, so congratulations on your new position. So very cool.
Hope to be in a place to be able to help the Capitol.
Come on.
Maybe like
So yeah, just from me, I know I'm just seeing you here, but I like, I don't want to sound like a funeral, but I know you'll be in a better place.
You know, over the governmental rainbow bridge.
And Lisa, I just have to say too, you are my last, again, to not sound morbid, you're my last standing JASCOM member. That I've had you sitting on the commission even during my interview process. You sat on my interview panels.
Yep.
And so you and I have been through a lot together. It's been a very, very fun and interesting 5.5 years, and I can't wait to see how we can also continue to work together in your new role.
I'm hoping that will be the case. That's part of the reason I took a new role, is to be able to leverage what I've learned at this level. Help the local jurisdiction. I'm just gonna end with another shout out to Sarah. And I can say this with knowledge because I sat on JASCOM before she was part of us. And while we had an amazing group of people working for the Joint Animal Service, leveraging what we could be and getting to the potential where we can now see is because of Sarah. And I see the Joint Animal Service Commission and maybe I'm biased, becoming a leader for this size county across the state of Washington. It's easy to have an animal shelter in King County or even Pierce County because they got a lot of money and they can do this. But being able to leverage the kind of service that we've already started to provide because of Sarah, I think will become an example. And when we get this new capital, when we get this new capital project off the ground, it's going to be fun to give tours to the legislators to the facility as we move forward with such things as ongoing revenue streams for the shelters that have nothing to do with jurisdictions. Which I am going to take up at some point, for sure. But anyways, this has been my favorite. I have been on this, and you know, you got to be careful because I started interesting counsel on it. And then this last year at retreat, I had to fight with it because there was that much interest. So.
I had a question for clarity on my report. So it was the 1,000 surgeries being recognized by the same entity that provided the $40,000 4 years earlier
Correct,
that you went after.
correct.
So you got the 40.
Yep.
You did with it what needed to be done.
Correct.
It's producing the results that got the award. Good job. Very good job.
Fulfilling the grant.
Yeah.
And I said, wow.
Sweet.
I think fulfilling the grant, but also fulfilling the strategic plan that this body set.
So Lisa, it has been fun working with you. I was at AWC on Wednesday, and somebody brought up property tax, and immediately my thought went to you, and I'm saying to myself, why would Lisa want to give up a JASCOM to go to the legislature and raise my property tax and have everybody call our names? So I don't know if this is at first it was a good move, but now that I think of it, I don't really know if it's a good move because you can always listen to Sarah tell you happy tales. So now you're going to miss that.
Yeah, that's true. You guys are gonna have to send me the happy tales.
We can do that.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping you will consider.
yeah. This is, you know, this is one of my committees. I keep saying it, but it's sad. It's a sad part of this whole thing.
Don't worry, I'm sure we'll come up with some sort of additional
Yeah.
person that needs to be on here that has to be appointed.
I haven't met Marion, although I don't want Vicky's. Yeah, well, you guys, I hope you all have good holidays. And I will see you around. And when you're stomping the legislative grounds for this capital S, sure you stop at LD 22.
Got it. Got it, man.
Do you want to adjourn? Yes, let's adjourn.